guess it had to happen at some point. After, I don't know, maybe 5 years of this DX Commander Classic being permanently erected in my garden, I managed to actually trip over one of the guide ropes. And it was guyed at a couple of places on the base plate here, as well as at the top round plate, and I managed to actually snap one of the segments. I repaired it and then pulled the antenna out straight, but it's not long enough anymore to support the 40-meter element properly. I did adapt it by pulling it back down and retuning, etc., but it made the 15-meter band slightly higher than it needed to be. So I decided to take the plunge and buy a new DX Commander pole, which I'd done. And I also got some plates because these are beginning to look a little bit worn. So I've just laid it out at the moment just to see where all the plates go. And what I'll do next is put it together. I'll tape all of the joints rather than just pull them out. I'll tape them, and then I'll put a Jubilee clip over the top, making sure that the Jubilee clip sits, for those in America that's a hose clamp, sits above the section below, so that it has nowhere to go when it tries to collapse. And I'll tape every joint, like I said, and then Jubilee clip every joint all the way to the top, apart from perhaps the last couple of sections. And I'm also going to put new elements on. So I shall replace these 5-year-old elements with some new elements from DX10. And yeah, we'll SWR it and see where we go. Here I am again. Do you know, I've been asked many times, why don't I use a socket and ratchet to tighten these up? Well, the reason is I'm lazy, and I actually kind of like the feeling and the you kind of know how much torque you're putting on things when you use a spanner. I know this is an adjustable pair of spanners or an adjustable set of pliers, call it what you will, but I actually prefer using these than I do a socket set. So that's the reason. So there you are, it is what it is. Just as a quick guide, I know not everyone will do it, but I certainly do. I take this template that the DX Commander's put on his guide, and I transfer that information to the plate, and then what I'll do then is I'm going to transfer the same information to the next plate, and then the plate, and then the plate, so that all the wires will go up and go through straight. And if I set it all up that way, then there's no ambiguity about where the wires are and what elements go where. Here's one of those things that people get wrong. I don't know why they get it wrong, but they tend to. I don't know why, like I said. But Jubilee clips on the DX Commander. Okay, you want to butt the hose clamp stroke Jubilee clip up to the joint. You do not want to put it on top of the section. You're not trying to crush this section down onto the smaller section. You're trying to stop this section from slipping inside the larger one. So what you do is you move it down to the join, just above the join, or on the join, as you can see. Okay, and then you clamp it here, and that's all there is to it. Put enough pressure on it so that the friction stops this PO from moving into it. You don't want to crush the section of fiberglass onto the other PO, because it will weaken it and it will snap. Alright, so there you are. Very easy. Okay, let me walk you through what I've done. So this is my DX Commander. It's fully extended and laying across the lawn, supported by a couple of garden chairs. And what I've done is I've taped and Jubilee clipped or hose clamped every single connection apart from the top three. This is the last support. This is going to do 80 and 40, and that's the only one that's not Jubilee clipped, as well as the next two sections. Well, because they're so small, I've just taped them. Going down, I have taped and hose clamped that one. That one's hose clamped with a bit of aquarium tube on it to stop it from scratching the pole. That's got a plate on it which is rammed up against the next section. Then this one is taped and Jubilee clipped with a hose clamp, with some aquarium tube, sorry. The next one is taped, Jubilee clipped or hose clamped, aquarium tube and a plate. Taped, Jubilee clipped, hose clamped and hose aquarium tube, stop it from scratching. This is slightly different. This one is plated, hose clamp or Jubilee clip, and this is heat shrink, because I thought it made a little bit of a nicer job when it's lower down. And again, the very base plate here, which is the driven plate, is hose clamped, Jubilee clip and heat shrink. And yeah, there we go. So that's been done full length. Now this is the 10 meter DX Commander Classic. I was hoping to put the signature up, the 12.5 meter DX Commander, but unfortunately I can't. It's it won't fit into the garden, so I'm going to have to sell it on, or perhaps use it for a different purpose at a later date. But there we are. So I'm replacing the DX Commander Classic with a DX Commander Classic. Those of you that might be wondering what this is the Rapid, or the Rapide, and I've created a 10 meter strap. So I've got 10 meters on this as well as 40, and I've done it slightly different way than the DX Commander does. I don't know if you can see that. See if I can zoom in. There we go. I've done a midpoint load rather than a base load for 40. Brings the SWR down to practically zero on the 40 meter band. It gives me about 100 kilohertz of Q, so reasonable. However, it doesn't let me get 15 meters. I have to put a separate element on for that. But yeah, 40, and it's just the length of the antenna. There's no fold back, and the other side is 20 meters. Okay, so let's have a look at the cutting chart. I've got that wrong. Let's have a look at it. Oh. Right, okay. So look at the cutting chart. Now for the 80 meter element, we need to have 19.5 meters. So what I'll do is I'll cut one 20 meters long, because I need to do something with it at the eyelet, which I'll show you in a few moments or so. So anyway, I've cut one at 20 meters. I'm just going to solder it up now, and a bit of heat shrink to make sure that it's nice and strong. So here you go. So I'll just gently nip it up, not too much. I just want to sort of squeeze it in so that when I solder it, it's got something to grip to, and then I'll heat shrink it, as I said, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do for the eyelet at the top. This is for the 80-meter element. Okay, so here's the idea for 80. There's the 80-meter element going all the way up the pole. I think I might need to align it a little bit better at the top. Goes up the pole as normal. When it comes to the fisheye at the top, I double back it slightly with a bit of heat shrink, put it on a bungee, tie it down into the fisheye, and then I use an electrical thimble or wire thimble around the eye, and the idea there is that it will, with any luck, stop the wear on the wire. It may, however, wear the spacer more. That's yet to be found out, isn't it? But we'll see anyway. So that will go up like so. That's an inverted L for 80. Right, let's put the other elements on. It's been a reasonably long day doing this. I haven't videoed quite a lot of it, which I apologise for. But ever so basically, I've only put 3 elements on this this antenna. I will put the rest on tomorrow, but that's another day, and I'll continue videoing then. But at the moment, I've got the 80, 20, and 40 on this this DX Commander. I'll put the others on later. I've got 80 for as an inverted L, goes over to the top of the house over there. Might see it, might not, I don't know. And I've got 40 going straight up and down as per the DX Commander's instructions. And the 40 is, sorry, the 20 is also as per the DX Commander's instructions. Now, I cut each element slightly long, and as I've tuned it back, it's actually the exact same measurements as it is in the cutting list. So he's got that spot on, at least for my installation. Okay, back the next day, ready to start the next bit. So we need our soldering iron and our solder, our DX10. That's superb stuff, that. What else do we need? We don't need a blue bow. I'm not sure why we need that. I can go back. Our cut list. My wife's dead tea bags. Yeah, don't ask. Hot air gun. Some fork connectors, to which I need probably another 3 or 4 of those fork connectors. There we go. First, the 17 meter is 3.89, so 4 meters all but. Okay. Okay, well, we've seen this 100 times before, I'm sure. Here we go, DX Commander Classic. I've completely re-elemented, and it's a new pole, all but, really. So we've now got 12, we've got 10, 12, 17, 20, 40, 80 on this particular pole. and I'm going to mark all of the elements, as you can see, with little tags. They run up, excuse the bungees, that's for guying. So they all run up straight to the top, and the 80 is an inverted L going over to the roof. Right, let's put this standard up and let's go in and SWR it all. Okay, let's start on the 80 meter band. Let's whack it down to, where should we put it? 600 starting point. It's, what is that? That's pretty much the start of the data area. I suppose 600, close enough. And the SWR there is, okay, fluctuating slightly between 1.3, 1.4. Okay, we'll call that 1.3, 1.4. Look at the dial, 1. According to that, it's 1.1, but okay. 1.3, 1.4. 1.3, 1.4. Okay, let's go up the band to 3.7. 3.7. 1.1, 1.2, something like that. 1.1, 1.2 according to that. Okay. Let's go right to the top. Close enough. 1.1, 1.2, something like that. 1.1. We'll be happy with that. Okay, now that's with the standard measurement, the DX Commander's standard measurement for the 80 meter band at 19.5. Okay, there is, however, about a 10 centimeter fold back on that, and that brings it in quite happily. Right, let's go to 7 megahertz 40 meter band, and the measurement for this one is 11.15 meters. For those of you in black and white, that's 36 foot 5 inches. Let's go to the bottom of that band. Close enough, I know it goes a little lower. Okay, 1.2. 1.2, we'll accept that. At 7/100, we've got an SWR of 1:1. 1:1, and at 7/200 or just below, we have an SWR of 1.2, 1.3. That shows 1:1 still. Okay, let's go up 14 megahertz. Now, on this particular band, I had to cut the antenna back by some 2 centimeters. So this, including the fold back, is 5 meters on the nose instead of 5.02. So this is 5 meters on the nose. Let's take a little bit of space in the middle. SWR 1:1. 1:1. 15 meters, 21 megahertz band. Just put it into CW. 1:1. 1:1. 28 megahertz. Yeah, 1:1. So overall, very, very pleased. And that's with exactly the same measurements on his website. Nothing done. Well done, Callum.